Welcome to a new episode of Tahu Talks, where I speak with everyone's favourite Rāpaki cousin, Kylie-Jane Phillips. We dive into an inspiring conversation about roots, memories and community. In this episode, Kylie-Jane opens up about her upbringing, sharing cherished memories that shaped her identity and connection to culture. She'll also talk about her journey in learning about mahi kai, the traditional practice of gathering food from the land and water, and how she passionately shares this knowledge with her community. Hi, cousin.
Hi, cousin.
Welcome to my podcast, Tahu Talks. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. Very well known in the community, all over the country. You're for the people, you know. You put up a post on Facebook asking for support for some whānau that you're helping, and then all of a sudden everyone just throws everything at you. You know, you're that type of cousin. You always are the cousin who, when I call on you, you come, you show up. You always show up, cousin, for whatever kaupapa or whatever thing that I ask you for. No questions asked either. No judgments passed. You just show up. So thank you for showing up again, cousin.
Thanks for having me.
Don't be
Reluctantly.
Yeah. So, where you from?
Oh, where am I from? Oh, that's a loaded question. And especially all these people viewing. Like, I feel like, born, raised on the east, between the east Rāpaki, and actually quite a bit of time at Tuahiwi. But where I'm from, I guess my roots take me across to Pou. Yep, over the coast. Kaikoura, around the Pātaka, all over the Pātaka. Little bit of Arawhenua and Otako, Rakiura. Yeah, so spread right across.
Yeah.
That's one side, and then my pawa's Kahungunu and Ngāi. Yeah, so that's where the Phillips come from.
Oh, yeah.
From up Ngāi ways, up to Wanganui. Then, yeah, my great-grandfather married into Kahungunu. And he died when my grandfather was quite young. And then they moved from being over in Taranaki, Wanganui ways, over to Hastings. Yeah, so they were raised there. And then Paua met the princess and game over. Rāpaki, the end.
What was your childhood like? You spent a lot of time at Rāpaki, eh?
Yeah. I had now I look at it, quite a privileged childhood at the time. The sink, the Rāpaki in the kitchen was like a fond memory. We had one of those burners, you know, the fireplace inside of the kitchen, and I spent lots of time sitting around that. There's this big wooden table, and the tawas, they actually used to smoke in the kitchen as well.
Yeah.
The sandwiches were a fond memory of making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sandwiches, and the dishes was always a good opportunity to quickly run away to the beach. But spent lots of time with my tawa. My pawa passed away in 1990, 26th of March. This was only 5 years old when he died, so I didn't really get to know him very well. But yeah, I spent a lot of my childhood riding shotgun with Tawa. Yeah, which is pretty cool. She had on the prelude. My mum, she raised us in the heart of Aranui. Yeah, Carisbrook Street. So she's a solo mum.
Yeah.
And to three extremely hard work, gifted children. Yeah, I got twin brothers, and so we were all, we're close in age.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when you brought up the smoking in the kitchen, that was like tuahiwi back in the days as well, making the sandwiches too. Aunties with the ciggies hanging out of their mouths, making the thousands of sandwiches, and, our tawa would boot us straight in the kitchen as soon as we got to the marae for anything. But I am grateful for those times where tawa would boot us into the kitchen, because now as an adult, that's the very first place I go to, is in the kitchen helping out the aunties. My sissies and I have had the privilege of being ringawera for some of our whānau tangihanga as well, and not a lot of our cousins got to experience that for themselves and are able to just confidently rock up to the marae like that and just go straight into the kitchen, know what to do, where to go for what, and who to go to for what.
I think now I look at it as a privilege when I think about some of my other cousins who, you know, that you identified that may not feel so confident.
Yeah.
But at the time, man, I just thought that my life was the worst. You know, when you're like voluntold you're going to be in the kitchen, and, you know, like I had Auntie Mala and Rāpaki. To be real honest, I spent lots of my time in the kitchen at Tuahiwi with...
Cool.
It was only Toko,
Yes.
Auntie Joan,
Yes.
Auntie Pat. I'll get in trouble if I start naming, but, you know, those... I remember having a little stool in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I'd get propped up. And it was special, my relationships with those toas, because I was a Rāpaki kid.
Yeah.
You know, so going up there, yeah, there was a special kind of love. And I guess now as an adult, yeah, I have a special connection to, you know, to those memories and that time.
You're pretty well known too as a guitar player. When did that journey all start?
Oh, man.
You pull it out all the time.
My pa had a guitar under his bed, and it wasn't under his bed, it was in the spare room. And I remember it was kind of like tapu.
Oh, yeah.
The guitar, like, don't even look at it, bro. And anyway, I'd just go in there and I'd watch, and, you know, then go in there while everyone was gone from the house.
Oh, yeah.
You know, lift up the latch and just move it perfectly so you could place it back perfectly.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it started, and then touching it, and then one day someone broke the string. Somebody. It definitely wasn't me, that's all I know. And then, you know, so I got bailed up in the lounge, and I was like, who broke the string? Who touched this guitar? And I was like, I don't know. I think it was Uncle Billy straight away. And then, yeah, and then I kind of like got stepped out a wee bit. And I was like, oh, well, if you think you're going to touch the guitar. And then I could play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had 3 songs under my belt. And, yeah, and so I played the guitar, and then we go to Te Rangi Maha for kapahaka practice.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Uncle Chow, he was the man.
Yeah.
You know, and all the Brennan brothers, you know, there's
Yeah.
Uncle Day and Uncle Jimmy, and so, you know, I would be, you know, just kind of hovering around, just waiting for that guitar to go down in between the sets so I could pick it up and have a play.
Yeah.
So that's where it started. And then Uncle Chow was like, there was regionals, and there was me, cousin Jeremy, and Joshy. And, yeah, we kind of made the team.
The cut.
Yeah. And we were only like 13, 14. In fact, Pounamu Ngāi Tahu got disqualified that year because of the underages in the team.
True.
Yeah. And anyway, yeah, that was kind of my debut. And it was just so cool. And then, you know, that... I don't really know what happened with the progression of Pounamu Ngāi Tahu. I think I was in my rangatahitanga then, and I was just, you know, kapahaka a little bit to the side.
Yeah.
Then we were, you know, at Tawas, and we'd see the Pradas go to kapahaka, and they were training out of Kashmir. Te Heikara when it first started. And, you know, Sundays at home were mahi days.
Yeah, hard.
So you're cutting the trees and painting the things, and, you know.
Oh, used too, cousin. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Sunday was also haka practice, and I'd see Manoa Nui leaving to go to kapahaka, and I'd be peering over the fence, and I was like, back to mahi. And then one day he went down the window and he goes, he's coming, to me and Lowell. And I looked at Lowell and I was like, we're going to get in all types of shit here, cuz. And he was just like, yep. Man, I just booted to the back door, kicked off my gumboots, put on my feelers, because they were cool, and then jumped in the car. Yeah, I jumped in the car. We went to Kashmir, and I remember Auntie Mara. She was like, you know, come in here, and just really nurtured, you know. And then yeah, and then I was actually watching that that documentary, or that Wakahuia series on Sunday, and I seen Tauira, and just cried.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his influence really with the guitar, because, you know, we came from Pounamu Ngāi Tahu, and the style was really hard, you know. It was really lines, and drills, that era, to Tauira and his papa, and it was the wairua, and so that was really, really beautiful. Yeah, so those two in particular were kapahaka influence, and then we had Uncle Jim, who was like Jimi Hendrix, and I just thought, man, one day I'm going to play that Hotel California lead, and I was in my room for like 4 years trying to get it. But music is a healer, that waita actually heals people, and we're just like, whoa.
Tell me about your taua. What was she like?
Te Kylie-Jane Phillips, and she was named after her mother. Her mother was Te Kylie-Jane as well. Yeah, she was funny. Like, Tahu was really funny. She had so much going on. Always had so many things going on. Like, she was like a board member. She's in the Mawhera Incorporation. She'd like get up in the morning and be like, "Are you sweet? Like, where are you going?
And all the hats.
Dressed like that, Like, what's going on? Like, I thought you said we were doing gardens." And, she's like, I'm off to the coast, and she was on another board and another kaupapa. And she's really resourceful.
Yeah.
And she was a cool auntie. Like, what I noticed about when she died is that, because she was my taua, and so that middle gen that called her auntie, I called auntie.
Oh, yeah.
And then as I became an adult, I got to know them a bit better, and I started learning the stories of that she was a bull at a gate too, and she was always for the underdog. Like, she didn't like the big dog like being stink to the underdog.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, because then she's just like thinks that she's like an enormous D-O-double-G. Yeah, but I think I inherited that from her. Like the inequities that we see in life. I recently talked about with another cousin. Actually, it was my nephew. He came in and he was like, "Oh, Auntie, can you just not?" And I'm like, "Not what?" And he's like, "Just leave it." And I'm like, "Leave what?" And he's like, "It's only fries at McDonald's." And I'm like, "It's not the point." Like, straight away, I was like, "Oh, God. Oh, no, it's happening."
Yeah.
And so it's just like, everything was about the point of, and everyone was racist. You wouldn't treat him like that, would you? In placemakers, because you didn't get one nail or something. Everything was about fighting, and I understand it now because they all were like that.
Yeah.
Auntie Pat. One time I came out of the shop and I'd paid for something more. She got some things, and she said, "Go back in there and get it." And I'm like, "What is it?" She's like, 15 cents or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
In my mind, she's like, "No, not the point." Okay, would they treat those Pākehās like that? No. Get in there. So, and so you kind of like that. So she was very much like that, Taua. She was articulate. She was strong. She had Honda Prelude, man. Like, it was cool as. And so me and Lo used to have arguments about who was taking the rubbish up. And I'm like, "Taua, he already drove." And this is from the house up the hill behind the bus stop. Yeah, and so she'd be like, "Oh, just get the rubbish dumped."
Yeah.
And so, we'd be driving. And so you'd have to pull out and then go straight up to the hill. So I'd pull out, go straight down by the church, go around the church, up past the marae, up past Uncle Henry's, and come all the way back down. She just had one-liners of doom. Yeah, she was actually really quick-witted and just funny. Just like yeah. One time, like I remember coming home from Mahi, and there's like maybe 8 of us living there, and we were like all early 20s. There was heaps of us living at Tahu's. I think Harley was there too. And Sade was there, heaps of first cousins, and I remember walking in, I'd been to Mahi, and then, Tahu was always like, the workers have the first shower, so we'd always have the first shower, and then, right, you over there, you, not you, the lazy one, she'd say, because if you didn't work, she couldn't add any value in her eyes, you just had to be a worker, and she would just kill any bit of money you had if you didn't work. Yeah, it's like, "You're last," and it's just like, "No, put that down." If trying to like take your plate up, dish your kai, you're last. you know. And it was just like the person who didn't work at, and she was just like, oh, look what the cat spewed up, you know, when you're walking in, you know. And that was her way of saying, you should get a job, moko. Yeah. Yeah, she was real good at that. Just making you feel like you need to do better.
My dog was the same though. Like, instead of telling you directly, they'd just like say things to make you feel bad and stuff like that, you know? Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, I guess this vacuum will just work itself. Like, there's 10 people in the room, but she's not talking to anyone in particular, you know?
No, it's fine. I'll wash these dishes myself, and you'd feel so stink, man.
Yeah, which one of you didn't wipe your ass?
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? Well, no one put the toilet paper in there. It's like, oh, damn, Tom.
Did you grow up with the reo?
No. Funny story. My grandmother was 50, I think, and I'll try to be mindful about the details, but my poa had just died, and I was in a cafe and with my dad. Actually, it was a Saturday, and Saturdays used to be bangers in New Brighton, and we were at the Chinese place because my pops used to go for a Chinese burger, and we're sitting there, and in the toilet section is where you had house rentals,
Yeah.
You know, and he's like looking through, and he looked up, and he goes, get in the car. And then, like, no cell phones or anything. And we got in the car and we drove all the way to Rāpaki. And then, like, he's having this full-on one-outs with his mum because the homestead is in the paper to be rented.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was hilarious because she just actually said one day, I'm going to university. I've been to 8 children, a mother who was deadly sower, deadly mutton birder, all of these other deadly things. And she just wanted to pursue education, so she went to university, and that's kind of how she told her children. They read it in the paper that the house was yeah. So it was really awesome, and she left and went to Waikato.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, studied Te Reo. So at 50 years old, I think she's like 54 or something.
Wow.
And
cool.
Yeah.
That's
like,
actual cool.
Yeah, it was go moves. And funny thing, like, you know, she was so proud of that. Like, she was so proud of that there's all these pictures in our home, and mainly of dead people, right? All these pictures, and then in the middle of it is her in her graduation outfit, and then on top was like Princess Diana. It was the best. Yeah, I think she had these aspirations as, you know, as a rangatahi, and just never had the flame fanners, and it really, you know, inspired us to think differently about the world, you know, growing up as teenagers. And then, she was just like, right, kids, you're all going to Kura Kaupapa. And we're like, wait, we're just about finished high school, you know? Like, how's this going to work? Yeah, and then I remember Paul Eddie's mokopuna were the first in our generation to go anahira, to Tirina, to go to Kura Kaupapa, and that was it, you know. So Kura Kaupapa wasn't very well established, so, you know, technology was at Aranui High School and the likes, but you know, I think I was about 16 and I got a letter. I stole it out of the mailbox. It's like, Kylie-Jane's not welcome at our school anymore. You're kicked out. And so I was like, oh, shit. Stole it out of the letterbox, told everything's sweet. I'm off to school the next day. Went to Whaiti's class, and then she was like, you know, really encouraging when it came to learning te reo. And then by default, because I was kicked out of school, I went to where everyone went when they were kicked out, to 3 places: Alternative Education Te Ora Hau with John O'Campbell, or Ngā Pika, or join the Aranui Sports Academy. I just went straight to Evelyn at Waitaha Trust. And then, that's when it really kicked off. Every day we were learning. Yeah. When my brother's children came along, like 2 out of 7 fluent.
Main.
Yeah, and then there's 3 in Te Pā.
Yeah.
Then there's 2 at Kohanga.
Main.
And so that shit hits hard.
Yeah.
That hits real different. You know, like that makes you think about how, like what you didn't have, and then your own lazy ahua to get by on what you've got, which is how I guess I've managed for a long time to not pursue excellence, because if your aspiration is for the kids to have that excellence, then you have to model it. Yeah, so excellent guitar playing is not it, cousin. It's not it.
No, but I love seeing you with your nieces and nephews, man. You would have been a fun-ass auntie to have growing up. Did you have any other, did you have aunties like that for you growing up too?
I actually did.
Yeah.
I had amazing aunties. I had real practical, capable aunties. You know, like Auntie Mulla is like, her skill set is really phenomenal. Like, you know, anything mahinga kai she can do.
Yes.
And then Auntie Flo was our social butterfly, you know, who was just like, oh, think about that tomorrow. We're in the now. You know, we got $20. Let's go. And she had an adventurous spirit. Toa used to say she is her wandering one. Gypsy, you know, she was just all about how we make the most out of right now. And then Anisha was always away, but she was so close because she was always really close with Toa. And so she was the model that was really sensible, I think, you know. And, so those were my my dad's sisters, and then my mum's sister was really nurture and really kind. I used to love going to her house as a kid because she would make everything from scratch.
Wow.
All the kai was always beautiful. She used to make these curried eggs and then like send us for a swim, and then when you got out of the pool you'd have a towel, which we never had at Rāpaki. Yeah, never had a towel. And then you'd have clothes to get changed into, and then you'd also have kai. I remember going down to the beach at home, and you're just like, here's a box of matches. There's 2 in there, one to make a mistake and one to light the fire. You know, and then there's like pippies on top of the fire. Yeah. You know, and then half a bag of bread. Yeah. 2 each.
Yeah, let's get into your mahinga kai kōrero, like, how did that all start? What did that look like growing up? Who was your teacher when it came to fishing and diving, cousin?
So my pop, he lived in the Coromandel, and he was mean, and he had a boat as well. We were full energy, full noise kids outdoors to the max, and so you know, hunting and fishing was his thing. And then, the wahine and our whānau were the same.
True.
Yeah, Tawa was like a gun plucker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, Auntie Mulla was the tuna. Yeah. You know, I spent lots of time out at the Rakahuri, white baiting as well. It was just a stinky job that was kind of normal. Like, you know, there was a kōrero down to the Titi Island. It was like cigarette butts and camping ground on the way down, and hotels and tailor-mades on the way home. Yeah. And I was, you know, like, so it was always kind of feast and famine. You know, like that was how, you know, how it was. And depending on the food chain, was depending whether you having tailor-mades and hotels, you know. Yeah. Eeling, oh, that was fun. Like, it was all fun. It's all quite a blurred memory. So many years, you know, of watching, and so many different seasons in my life where, you know, sometimes there'd be like a full scaffold put up at Rāpaki and there's eels everywhere, and then sometimes, you know, whānau would be doing things different ways, but it was all based on, you know, what was happening, where the crew were in the ocean, the food chain, you know, what was happening.
I'm not hene moana.
Well, I know one.
I don't know anything about, fishing and diving and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, do you remember, what's your first memory of collecting kaimoana?
Oh, yep. So, this is, far out funny. My pop, he took us out on the boat one day, and we'd been fishing all day, and, like, Tamure is the thing up there, ka Hawaii. And so, anyway, we're, like, fishing, and then he pulls up next to his mate, and his mate's name's Max. And he goes, "Hey, Max, how you going?" And he goes, "Not too bad, Bill." He said, "I'll drop you off some scallops later." Because Max has got tanks. And Pop took that as a direct insult.
Oh.
And was just like, "Oh, yeah?" And then he was like, "Right, now come here." And then he got a shell out of the back of the boat. And he goes, "Now, see these?" And we're looking at him, me and my brothers, we're like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Right, now you want to jump down there and down on the bottom of the ocean floor, and you just put them in his bag and then come back up." Easy. So we're just little kids, man, just jump straight down. And then I was like, "Pop, did you get any?" And I was like, "Nearly." And he's like, "Get back down." And so these guys are diving with tanks.
Yeah.
And they're like, 5 meters down, getting their scallops. And then we came back half a thing of scallops. And then anyway, they used to have this happy hour, 5 o'clock, all the fishermen would get together and talk about their day out on the water. And they'd all be, sitting there, 5 o'clock beers.
Yeah.
And then Pop's looking at Nana, like, cueing her, like, "Come on, bring out those scallops." So anyway, she brings them out, and they're battered and, ready to have a kai. And then Max looks at him and goes to Pop, "You got tanks on board, Bill?" And he goes, "Nah, my mucko's got them." And I was just like, oh my God, thinking about that as an adult, like, bro, Pop's flex was on. But, he was so proud that we weren't afraid. We just got more curious about, underwater, and then Pippies was always a thing at the Gap, and so, and then Pippies at the Pa. It was actually Uncle Marvel at home at Rāpaki and Uncle Henry. They used to take the dinghy and set the flounder net, and you just pull it, on the beach, and then you see a massive skate in the water, and then, you stop being scared. Everything was trial and error. I wished now, for my own sake, is that me?
No, that's me.
Oh. I wish now for my own sake that we had done like a diving course or something.
Yeah.
Like, bro, imagine how, awesome. But it's always been, like, so nostalgic. It's so quiet in the water, cuz.
The sea scares me, cousin.
Right.
It scares me. The water, like, if I can't see through the water, I'm not even going in there, because I don't know what's in there. Like, something could bite me or eat me or, like, drag me down, and my biggest fear is drowning.
Yeah, right.
And I don't even eat kaimoana either.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. I mean, know, I'm not going for a swim anytime. Like, I'm not going to the beach to have a swim.
Yeah.
I'm going to the beach to get a kai. But, yeah.
I think I'm a picky eater because, like, I've tried... It depends how it's done. Like, I can't eat it raw. You know how you guys just, like... I'm calling you guys.
You savages.
You catch
making kinder videos like, "What the slurp?" Funny.
I've tried scallops, but like barbecued, in garlic butter.
Oh, yeah.
I've tried prawns, but in a nice,
teriyaki sauce.
Smoked ka Hawaii with, real foods mayo in a sandwich, or smoked tuna with golden syrup brown sugar. That's me. What's your fave kaimoana, and how do you best like it?
Oh, just anything straight out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not paua. I've got a few cousins that can just hang on a paua on the side of the rock.
Yeah.
It's not my idea of a good time, but yeah. And the shells are good, cuz. Like, I think mussels, kutai, are the most underrated.
Oh, yeah.
Get your kutai off the rocks and cocoa and you on.
Can you share any traditional fishing techniques that were passed down through your family?
Recently, of years, maybe 5 years ago, I was living down in Southern, and learnt from tiny metzger, the ways to preserve and how to collect the bully kelp and, make a poha.
Yeah.
That was dope. I think that's one thing that we're trying to kind of bring back. The other one is my pa used to, and I know that Auntie Mala does it as well. When you pāwhara an eel, like when you get the backbone out of it, there's a quick way to go from the backbone and then out, and then you kind of pull out the bone. But going from the other side it takes longer. Yeah, you're going to look every time now that I told you this. But you know how you see the tuna on the table, and it's like that. Well, if you go that way, you don't get the ass of the tuna. It's because you cut it, but that's the quick way. So people often just go, and then, you can see it. But coming the other way, it's a whole lot more cleaner. And Auntie Mala, as we're getting early 20s, we'd want to go, the quick way. Yeah. We're all about that. Yeah. Instant gratification, just get it done. There's 150 there, and there's getting, less room on the clothesline. And she'd come past and she'd be like, hey, for that reason, and so it takes a little bit more time, but I know she's big on that. And also, like, hanging the eels down on the wharf. So there's a, when you're working the eels, you put salt on them to keep the flies off, but she was easy on the salt because hanging them down on the wharf at home, you get a natural salt spray. So yeah, and so again, it costs you more time, which is it's harder in this day and age, but she's still big on keeping that practice alive. Yeah, and her son Lyle now, he's really into it, and he's got two kids and Ariki Pearl, and it's just normal to them, and it's not funny, but some of their townie cousins come along and for hangs, they're like, ew, you stink. Yeah. And the kids are just like, oh, it's a seal. Yeah. It's just a tuna. And it's, it's quite, it's quite normal for them. Yeah. But to see them be immersed in it, I'm not so resentful about my upbringing, because I'm like, shame. I used to get it too. But, like, it's actually a really beautiful thing. Yeah, being part of it and not scared. Yeah. Not scared to pick up the eels, Cool. When they're in the pārua, and then putting them into the sack and then cleaning off their stones. Yeah. And it's actually really therapeutic. But you don't get the payoff until you don't realise how therapeutic it was when you're in a chain gang, doing all the kai, and it just moves around. So your job doesn't change. If you're cutting tails and hanging, then that's you for the day. Yeah. But the payoff is when you leave the house that you dropped them. Cool. And it's the drive home. I think it's like something else happens. It's that practice of kai ho kai. Yeah. That's what it is. It's about the gift that you give away. If your gift is to dive, and then like if your gift is to tell stories, do your thing, like it's a beautiful, real beautiful thing.
Looking ahead, what are your hopes for the future generations to come within your whānau?
To know their place in the world. To feel... I sometimes I'm fearful about what they see and hear, and how we keep them, how we keep the kids, the resilience. The aspiration is that they're resilient and they're confident in who they are, not as Māori, as Ngāti Wheke, as a descendant of Tuahuriri. That they can move in their world. When I go to Bluff, I've still got, oh, you're this whānau, oh, you're te whēs moko, oh, to go to the coast, oh, you're te whēs moko. That has been so helpful for me in my life. And it's the cause and the cure, right? Like it's, and I want the kids to have that. I don't want them to have to go through what... I just want them to continue that legacy, to be connected to their whenua, but also to be able to look after it in a way and protect it so that they can continue. To just pull over and just grab a fish, you know. It's not at the fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
We spent some time on the Kaikoura coastline. You can still throw your rod in, or you can still sit in the creek and, you know. So there's still kai, you know, it's still accessible to us. Yeah. Stop at a watercress patch, you know, and know the difference between, oh, this needs to be reseeded. Oh, this needs to, you know, the water's changing. You know, everything's so accessible now. Why would I spend $30 on gas going to the watercress patch when I can spend $8 for gas and the cost of buying a watercress bunch at Mad Butcher?
Yeah.
You know, Rāpaki, according to Uncle Nook and a few others, was known as the Hilton.
Yeah.
And it was not because of the display of kai, it's because of how you were made to feel when you come into this to the home, you know. I want them to always be proud of that and to learn the value of manaakitanga and how to be a good manuhiri as well, you know.
Having my toa in my life just made me, and the toa that I did have made me want to be a toa like her, because I just had the best toa in the world, you know.
My brothers have got children, and they'll have children, and they'll be paua.
Yeah.
I'll be toa.
Yeah.
And their partners will be nena.
Yeah. Okay. Why are their partners nena?
They're not Ngāi Tahu, okay? So, nanny, karani mama, whatever you want to call yourself, ka pai. So, I'm just like, toa. Yeah, I'm toa. I'm toa, so just keep those marriages together and no more other kids. And then I'll be the toa.
Yes!
My father and his siblings talk about their relationship with their toa. Now, I have to put that in context too, because my toa had, you know, all of these siblings, I don't know, maybe 7, and then they all had like 10 kids each, you know, type thing. Those mokos were all first bloods. They called each other their first bloods, their first cousins. They all have a memory of their toa.
Yeah.
And a deep love for her. And because Pauanui died earlier, and that connection of, and the stories that came out of there, you know, and on that scale was like really, really beautiful. And I think that was definitely my toa's aspiration too. You know, when she got to that place, and then I think about her children, just want to be the best toas, but they're never going to have, like you said, 12.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And it's so crazy, to think that they had, like, you know, I remember piling into Tauanui's car. She had a Honda City, and then she'd go to Housey, and she would roll in there 8 deep mokopuna in the corner, playing her Housey, you know, and then we'd all have one card each, and this is so hilarious because she'd be like, you know, 4141 or the 444, and she'd be doing everything, and then she'd start pointing to all of ours, like all the numbers that we're missing, and she'd just be going for it so hard out. But she'd have all of us kids in this Honda City, and then we'd drive back to the pa, and then we're all in one room. There were sets of bunks in one room, and not only were there sets of bunks, we were top and tailing in the bunks, you know. And then how did Tauanui even do that? You know, we'd see, it would just hope that we'd see a for sale, a house for sale sign that had fallen over, or that, you know, you could get the plastic from.
Oh yeah.
Because then you just come home and then jump on the plastic with your big cousin. Yeah. And away you go down the hill, you know. It was kind of like, and we'd just be having fun all day outside, swimming, you know. So I think about that scale, and then I think about the aspiration of being a toa, you know, like they had it, you know. Yeah. They had it locked down, There was not one elbow on that table.
Eating all your kai, otherwise you're eating it tomorrow morning for breakfast or not going to bed.
Yeah. What about the I'm full ones while you're too full for pudding? Or you go, I'm full, well, you must be tired. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not. Go to bed.
Yeah, it's still daylight. Close the curtains. Thank you so much, cousin, for coming through. As always, it's been a beautiful kōrero. Thank you for sharing all of your kōrero, sharing a little bit of your mātauranga around collecting kai moana, a talent I wish I had.
We've all got things that we're good at, you know. And I'd just like to say that mine is the guitar. No, it's not. But, you know, like, not, you know, you can't be the pro at all the things.
He kai kaya kurenga. I have food at my hands, like, you know, whakatauki that speaks. We all have our own skills, talents.
Yeah.
Thanks again for coming through, cousin. Loved it. So that was another episode of Tahu Talks. Thanks for watching. As usual, keep your niggy comments to yourselves, okay? Because we're all about positivity up in here, all right? See you, bye.